I don't care about your errands. My errands are the most important in the world. My daughter's birthday is the top priority. If you don't bring the celebration right now, I'll ruin the funeral. The ear-piercing shout of my mother-in-law. I regretted answering the call from my mother-in-law at the funeral service, trembling with anger. My name is Claire. I'm a housewife in my mid-40s with a high school daughter. Having a high school daughter means dealing with a girl who is fussy about makeup and fashion. I have this image that she would say, I can't wear clothes bought by my mother. But my daughter, Lily, is different. Lily gets along well with me and happily wears the clothes I buy for her. She's considerate and kind. However, Lily is not an ordinary girl. She can't lead a life of simply putting on makeup, dressing up fashionably, falling in love, and fully enjoying her school days. That kind of life is not possible for her. It's tough. Are you okay? Do you have a fever? Oh, it's gone down a bit. Do you want to eat something? I'm not hungry, I don't want anything. Don't say that, you won't have the energy if you don't eat. I'll prepare chicken soup. Okay. While caring for Lily, who was bedridden with a fever, I went about my household chores. Lily is frail. Though there's a diagnosed condition, explaining it now wouldn't make much sense. About a week after Lily was born, the blood from her umbilical cord wouldn't stop. We thought it was strange and went to the hospital, where a certain illness was discovered. Since then, despite treatments, there has been no remission, and we've been living with the illness. Regular hospital visits are a must, and the side effects of the medication often make her condition worse. During severe episodes, she even has to be hospitalized. Since entering high school, the number of days she has been able to attend can be counted on one hand. Realistically, she might not be able to graduate at this rate. But on her good days, Lily tries to go to school. She cares about her hairstyle like a normal high school girl, which is endearing. She doesn't wear makeup because it's against the school rules, a good and serious girl. Despite struggling with her illness, she lives her life with optimism, which is her best trait. Lily is my pride and joy. My husband, Michael, also adores Lily. If she even shows signs of getting sick, he'll say, I'll take off work and take care of her. Of course, I have to practically kick him out to go to work. He needs to earn a good income, or our family would fall into financial ruin. When I assure him that I'm taking good care of Lily, he reluctantly goes to work. That's the routine of our family. I worry about Lily, but despite that, our family and marriage are strong and happy. It was a peaceful and happy time. However, there's one person who isn't happy with our situation. Lily's got a fever again, huh? What a shame, wonder who she takes after. What brings you here today? What, can't a parent visit her son's house? You're such a cold daughter-in-law. My granddaughter is weak and my daughter-in-law is a demon. My old age is just unlucky. Yes, the one dissatisfied with our family is my mother-in-law. She lives just 3 bus stops away and frequently visits our home to deliver her usual dose of sarcasm. Since the beginning of our marriage, my mother-in-law has loved picking on me. Now her attitude towards Lily is terrible too. Doesn't she find her granddaughter adorable? Michael never got sick this often. Claire, could it be something from your family line? I've told you many times, Lily's condition isn't hereditary, it's sporadic. No way, it's definitely something to do with your bloodline. This is why I was against Michael marrying you in the first place. My mother-in-law seems determined to disparage my family line, her snide remarks never ceasing. Realizing that engaging with her is a waste of time, I've gradually gotten used to dealing with her. Sighing, I took the chicken soup I prepared and headed to Lily's room. Wait. We're not done talking yet. I could hear my mother-in-law's shouting from behind, but I chose to ignore it. Once inside Lily's room, her voice became faint. Is Grandma here again? Yes. The usual daughter-in-law bullying. Grandma can't be helped. Lily gives a wry smile. But I'm sure Lily understands. With such a loud voice, there's no way Lily can't hear her grandmother. Yet, Lily never speaks ill of her grandmother. Instead, she looks apologetic and says, I'm sorry, Mom. It's my fault. Lily, it's not your fault at all. Even though she's done nothing wrong. Lily apologizes to me. Wanting her to never feel that way, my husband and I always try to greet Lily with smiles. We don't want her to dwell on the negatives, so we create a cheerful atmosphere. But my mother-in-law shatters that atmosphere in an instant. Hugging Lily tightly, I bit my lip. Her frail body. Lily's frame is nothing like a healthy high school girl's. Yet, feeling Lily's warmth, I realized it was time to firmly keep my mother-in-law away. The days spent nursing frail Lily. When she goes to school, I worry all day long. I took back the keys from my mother-in-law who would barge in during our absence. Days filled with endless arguments with my shouting mother-in-law. My husband working hard for his beloved family. Lily's laughter. Despite everything, those were peaceful days. I thought they would last forever. Why did I think that? There's no such thing as forever. Where there's a beginning, there's also an end. On a rainy summer day, Lily's condition worsened. The fever that wouldn't go down. The doctor's face clouding over with the test results. Me, holding a trembling Lily, filled with anxiety. And then Lily was hospitalized. Summer break came, and even as summer ended, Lily couldn't be discharged and the treatment continued. Those were incredibly difficult and painful days. Lily seemed to be suffering greatly. Yet, I believed she would get better, that she would definitely recover. Above all, Lily herself believed that. But Lily passed away. Dad, Mom, I love you so much. Leaving those words behind, she embarked on a journey far away. I looked up at the terrible sky as the autumn rain poured down relentlessly. The rain from my eyes wouldn't stop. It rained continuously on the day of the funeral, too. It was as if, being too busy to cry myself, the sky was crying on my behalf. The tears I shed on the day Lily passed away have now ceased. I was that busy. My husband also took time off work and was bustling about. I was swamped with contacting relatives and dealing with the school. It was necessary to stay busy. I couldn't have endured it otherwise. The sense of loss from Lily's departure was immense. Many people came to the funeral in the rain. Despite her limited school attendance, many of Lily's friends came to pay their respects. And every one of them cried. Some children cried out, asking why this had to happen. Others broke down in tears, saying they would always love her. Seeing this, I felt a perverse sense of happiness. Everyone loved Lily. I was overjoyed to know how much she was cherished. Many people spoke to me. And everyone praised Lily. My parents hugged me while crying. That's when I completely broke down. It was at that moment. My cell phone, tucked into the pocket of my suits, vibrated. Having the phone with me to handle any calls for directions to the venue, I hastily stepped outside to check the screen. It was my mother-in-law displayed on the screen. My father-in-law had already passed away, and of course, I had informed my mother-in-law. But she hadn't come to the hospital when Lily was in her final moments, saying she was too far away to make it. She had also said she had important matters and couldn't make it to the funeral today. That was supposed to be the case, but perhaps she was going to come after all? Maybe, despite everything, she wanted to say goodbye to her granddaughter. So I answered the call, but I immediately regretted it. "What are you doing, Claire?" she yelled. I'm at Lily's funeral." "What? What nonsense are you talking about? Get over to my house right now." "To your house? That's impossible. What are you saying?" "What am I saying? I'm the one who should be asking that. Didn't I tell you I have important matters today? Hurry back and help me out." "Important matters? There's nothing more important to me than Lily's funeral. I don't care about your errands. My errands are the most important in the world. What is this person talking about? First of all, I believe it's a huge problem that for a grandmother, her granddaughter's funeral is not the most important event in the world. From the start, my mother-in-law was adamant about not attending the funeral, no matter how much my husband pleaded. Why should I have to help her with her matters? If it's more important than your granddaughter's funeral, why don't you handle it yourself? It's only natural for you as my daughter-in-law to help out. That makes no sense. I'm celebrating my beloved daughter's birthday. There's nothing more important in this world." "Excuse me?" It took me an incredibly long time to respond. "Wait, what did you just say?" My mother-in-law's daughter, that would mean my husband's sister, right? My sister-in-law, Monica. I remember she lives in some incredibly remote part of the world, where communication is only possible via satellite phone. And even that rarely connects. That's why, even for today's funeral, though I sent an email, I had no idea when she would read it. What about my sister-in-law's birthday? Wait, what do you mean by my sister-in-law's birthday? She's coming back home after ages. And just in time for her birthday, no less. We have to celebrate it big time, it's a must, right? I wasn't aware of such a rule. So, I need you to come over right away to help clean the house and prepare a feast. But I'm in the middle of a funeral. I don't care about that. My daughter comes before my granddaughter. Oh, and make sure to bring a gift, nothing less than $500. Hurry up. Or I'll ruin the funeral. Click. I hung up without waiting for a response. I couldn't stand listening to her any longer. If I had to hear more of her ranting, I felt like I might grab a sword and storm over there. What a selfish mother-in-law. Daughter before granddaughter? I'm not saying she has to choose, but to say her daughter matters more overwhelmingly is outrageous. More important than a funeral, ridiculous. I told my husband everything, and we decided to ignore her. He tried to contact my sister-in-law, who was apparently still on a plane and couldn't be reached. Trying to regain my composure, I returned to bidding farewell to Lily with tears. The day after the funeral, my sister-in-law visited our home. Apparently, she flew back after reading the email from my husband. She thought it would be faster to return home than to communicate en route, but the journey from where she lived to our home took dozens of hours. She didn't make it in time for the funeral. My sister-in-law apologized. She shared various stories with me. Stories about Lily and her aunt that I was hearing for the first time since they rarely met. Listening to her, I remembered Lily's childhood and cried again. My mother-in-law never showed up. My sister-in-law deeply apologized for that, too. Leave my mother to me, she said before leaving, but what did that mean? A few days later, I was still in Lily's room, unable to grasp the reality of her absence. Gently caressing her study desk. The room, untouched since her passing, was filled with too many memories of Lily. Just as I was about to cry again, it happened. Startled by the unexpected ring of the doorbell, I hastily wiped away my tears and was shocked when I looked at the monitor. There was my mother-in-law appearing on the screen. The mother-in-law who had made frivolous remarks on the day of the funeral, infuriating both my husband and me. The mother-in-law who, despite my resolve not to let her in, hadn't shown up for several days. What does she want now? I had no intention of opening the door, so I responded through the intercom. What do you need? Claire. Help me, please. I was puzzled by her sudden plea for help. If this continues, I might end up going to where my granddaughter is. Please, help me. She began spouting such outrageous things. With no idea what was happening, I reluctantly opened the front door, only for my mother-in-law to collapse inwards. What happened? I asked in shock. Help me. Monica. Monica, ah. Confused and tilting my head, I suddenly noticed a figure entering my field of vision. So you were here, Mom. The figure was my sister-in-law. She was smiling, but there was an unspoken pressure about her. Eek, she's here. Wah, what? What? Seeing my sister-in-law's face, my mother-in-law screamed in terror, turning me into a complete question mark. What on earth is going on? Just because I've appeared, don't say such rude things. Look, Mom, it's your beloved daughter, isn't it? My beloved? Not at all. What's going on here? Just days ago, she prioritized her daughter over her granddaughter, choosing a birthday over a funeral. What changed in these few days? While I stood dumbfounded, my sister-in-law handed something to my mother-in-law. Don't worry, the next one will be much easier. Here, just put this on your head and live with it. My sister-in-law placed it on my mother-in-law's head as she said those words. My mother-in-law shook it off and fled behind me for refuge. I won't wear such a thing. Why not? Because if I wear that on my head, people will think I'm a weirdo. Wondering what it was, I looked at the object on the floor. It was a mask. Not the kind of character mask you'd see at a festival stall, but something else. Like something an ethnic group from the depths of Africa might wear during a mysterious ceremony. The kind a shaman might like. And why does my sister-in-law have such a thing? Why is she trying to put it on my mother-in-law's head? This mask is used for divination where I live. My sister-in-law explained, answering my unspoken question. It has a unique look, doesn't it? Right? Aren't the bulging eyes and thick lips just the cutest? Whether it's cute is a matter of personal taste, so no comment there. But, well, it's an interesting design, to be sure. So, you're going to put this mask on her head? Not on her face? If we put it on her face, she wouldn't be able to see anything. This mask doesn't have eye holes. If it did, we could just have her wear it on her face. And what happens when she wears it? Oh, you don't know? This mask has the power to ward off demons. As if I would know such a thing. A demon ward? Yes, exactly. This person is clearly possessed by a demon, don't you think? She said, pointing at my mother-in-law. Her own daughter is saying such things. Is this what she meant by leave it to me? That's why I think if she wears this for a few days, she'll definitely become a normal person again. I've been trying other methods these past few days. Other methods? I made her wear a garlic necklace and run around the neighborhood. That's not for demons, is it? Wait, are vampires considered demons? I didn't really understand, but maybe it didn't matter. But running? What's that about? Is that why my mother-in-law looked so worn out? That must have smelled, I remarked. Garlic doesn't smell much if you don't cut it, it's not too bad as is, she explained. But that's not really the issue here. Well, that's beside the point too. The real issue is that my mother-in-law spent days like that. Running around. I really wanted to see that scene. Do you want to see the photos? She offered. Oh, I do. Taking photos was such a great move by my sister-in-law. What are you two having fun about? Show some sympathy for me. My mother-in-law screamed, seeing us enjoying the photos. I had almost forgotten she was there. Why should we show sympathy for you, Mom? My sister-in-law retorted, looking up from her phone with a sharp glare. Why? Because I'm your mother. If you want your daughter to show sympathy, maybe you should try being someone who deserves it? Who else could be as good as me? Who calls themselves good after dismissing their granddaughter's funeral like it's nothing? My sister-in-law shouted, her mouth gaping open. I rushed back from abroad for my niece's funeral, only to find my mother relaxing at home. When I asked if the funeral was over, she said she hadn't attended. I worried you were ill, but then you showed me how healthy you were by doing push-ups, right? Push-ups. She didn't even come when invited to the funeral. I couldn't care less about my birthday. What are you talking about? Celebrating a daughter's birthday is a parent's duty. I've never heard of a grandmother who prioritizes her daughter's birthday over her granddaughter's funeral. Their shouting match left both my sister-in-law and mother-in-law gasping for breath. That's why I'm saying I need to purify that demon-possessed rotten nature of yours and straighten you out. My sister-in-law yelled, ending her tirade with tears rolling down her cheeks. Having a grandmother like you, Lily was the one who deserved pity. Her words choked me up. Ah, my sister-in-law loved Lily too. Even if they hadn't spent much time together, my sister-in-law undoubtedly loved Lily. Holding back tears that threatened to overflow, I fixed a stern gaze on my mother-in-law. She flinched momentarily under my stare. Ah, I started to saying. What is it? During Lily's lifetime, you never did anything for her. I'm not talking about giving her things, you never even showed concern for her, did you? So what? How could I dote on such a frail child just because she's my granddaughter? But Lily admired you. What? Caught off guard by my unexpected response, my mother-in-law was at a loss for words. I asked her to wait and went back inside the house. From Lily's room, I brought it back to where my mother-in-law was standing at the entrance. I handed her an envelope. What's this? It's a letter from Lily to you. What? My mother-in-law looked back and forth between me and the letter in surprise. The letter I held indeed began with "To Grandma," penned in Lily's handwriting. My mother-in-law cautiously opened it and began to read. As she did, her eyes widened and soon, tears began to overflow. I didn't do anything for her. I wasn't kind or affectionate to her. She exclaimed, collapsing to the ground on her knees. Picking up the letter that had fallen from her hands, my sister-in-law read it too. Sorry for not being a healthy granddaughter. I'll try to be better, so please don't hate me. I love you, Grandma. Lily. Even to such a heartless grandmother. Lily was a kind girl, I said. Yes, she really was. My sister-in-law agreed, tears streaming down her face. I couldn't stop my tears either. Then my mother-in-law, face down on the ground, sobbed, I'm sorry. I was a terrible grandmother, forgive me, Lily. The three of us continued to cry for what felt like an eternity. Afterward, when my husband came home and was taken aback by our continued tears, my sister-in-law briefly explained the situation and then took our mother-in-law home with her. Despite her shaky steps, my mother-in-law's hand firmly gripped Lily's letter. No amount of remorse or regret could make me forgive her cold behavior towards Lily during her life, let alone her actions on the day of the funeral. I intended to remain virtually estranged from her. My mother-in-law probably sensed how I felt. The overbearing and malicious mother-in-law was nowhere to be seen anymore. My sister-in-law returned overseas, and my husband kept his contact with our mother-in-law to a minimum. Soon after, living a lonely life, my mother-in-law developed dementia. Fortunately, we quickly found a facility for her, where she now resides. Of course, I don't visit, and my husband only goes when necessary. According to him, during a recent visit to the facility, our mother-in-law kept muttering, sorry, Lily. Hearing this didn't stir anything in my heart. Years may pass, but I can't and don't want to forgive her. Yet, I can't help but wonder. In front of me is a photo of Lily, smiling happily. If it were Lily, if it were her, the kind-hearted girl she was, she probably would have forgiven our mother-in-law. No, she might not have held any grudge to begin with, because she was such a kind girl. I love you, Mom. I thought I heard a voice, and I gently wiped the corner of my eye.